As we discussed briefly yesterday, the Dolphins fired their OC Shea after just a single season because he reportedly tried to instill an offense that was too complicated for the young Miami team. According to the Herald, one player described the situation as a bleep show and film study as a disaster. Now, we've seen various young quarterbacks and offensive players scuffle in one system before breaking out and thriving in others. So it's all... It all depends on where you are in your career. Are you truly a diligent pro yet? Have you learned how to be a pro? How the communication skills of the person, the OC or the DC delivering the new playbook. There's a lot of variables. In or out. A player playing in the right offensive system is just as important as his level of skill.
I think that's inbounds, BT. I think about just the last couple of MVPs. If Lamar Jackson was asked to stay in the pocket and never run and throw the ball downfield with accuracy on certain different types of routes, Greg Roman would have a failure on his hands. Instead, he devised the system that fits exactly what he does well, and he won the MVP and has gotten to the postseason 2 years running. Same thing can be said for Pat Mahomes with Kansas City. Andy Reid saw him in college and famously said, dude, that's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, and has proven to be right. But he designed a system that fit what he does really well, gives him a lot of freedom. And again, if Pat Mahomes was forced to be steady and stacked in a pocket, I don't think he'd be as effective. So I'm going to say inbounds with that one. I'm going to say
out of bounds. And this is not meant to, gloss over being in the right system. It's obviously important. Look at Julian Edelman. If they had Julian Edelman or Wes Welker run go routes their entire career or try to play on the boundaries, probably not doing what they've done.
Yeah, DBs would be laughing at them.
Exactly. You want to get off this line? Have fun. Let me jam you, and then let me just, I'll basically run the route for you. But there's nothing that takes the place of talent. Ideally, you've got the right talent in the right system, of course. Assuming, based on the question, we don't have that double play combo. I would still, if given the choice between a system that matched the talents or a talent that we were trying to tweak the system to fit, I'd still go with the latter. I'm not saying that either is a perfect scenario. I'm not saying that, but I'll always take the chance with skill, with the talent, with the oversaturation, the abundance of talent, and try to clean up the loose particles after, rather than taking somebody who might be a little deficient either in size or speed and fit him into the perfect system. I hear you, and I know why you answer it that way, and I could have done that as well. But I'm going to genuflect the talent. That's the bottom line, talent. Right? The Rams, they've got some talent. They used to have a lot of talent, and all of a sudden, 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, which they lost, of course, that was a boring one. They appear to be trending in the wrong direction. Talent is not there the way it was.
Yeah.
So they missed the postseason a year ago. They had 9 wins, finished up strong. To be fair, they were very strange team early. They got a little better as the year went on. And the team's overhauled its roster. They lost Todd Gurley. They lost Eric Weddle. I don't think Weddle's a big deal. He was getting up there. Brandon Cooks, we know they lost him. Dante Fowler and others. And they'll miss Fowler. Now, two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Donald, is worried that they've lost a little bit too much. Inbounds, out of bounds. The Rams' window to win a Super Bowl with this current core is shut.
I'm going to say out of bounds of that, BT. Now, I know their division is very tough with the 49ers and the Seahawks, and obviously the Cardinals are on the come too. But let's not forget that Jalen Ramsey's still on this squad. They drafted Terrell Lewis from Alabama, who fell a little bit. They got him in the 3rd round. Michael Brockers, remember, he was going to sign elsewhere. I forget where that deal fell through because of his ankle injury. So their defense is still somewhat intact. And Aaron Donald is always, perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But they drafted really well on offense, and I give them a ton of credit. And both in the 2nd round. Cam Akers, who's a running back from Florida State, he is a dynamic stud player. He's listed 3rd on the depth chart right now, but that's not going to last. He's going to be the starter before the season starts because he's so dynamic. Now, he's got a fumbling issue. I think the number was like 1 in every 65 touches he fumbled, but that's correctable. I got to teach him the Tiki Barber method. He'll
you better.
It out.
You can't correct it on a computer. You got to get in the building.
Great point. But also the kid Van Jefferson from Florida.
I like him.
Do you realize? I didn't realize this. He was at Mississippi State. right? He transferred out after 3 years, but still had 2 years of eligibility remaining. So he's a smart kid. His dad, Sean Jefferson, was a wide receiver. The MO
His dad coaches on the Jets.
Yes, exactly. That he catches everything. He's like a stud. But he transferred because it was Evan Ingram, A.J. Brown, and D.K. Metcalf.
Yes.
Well, that's like he wasn't getting any run.
Yeah.
So he transferred out, goes to Florida, and caught everything. Led the team for 2 years. They've actually replaced really well in the draft some of the skill position players that they lost.
Okay.
So I'm going to say out of bounds. I think there's a chance, but I mean they're going to have to get lucky in that division.
Inbounds, it's over. Window shut. And the reason why the window's shut, you talk about the division for sure.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. Also the conference. You're not going to, to win a Super Bowl, you've generally got to be with a gaudy win total. So you get a bye. You obviously host a game or two. I just don't think they have the firepower to do that, although we will know pretty much out of the chute what they have. They're playing Dallas, they're playing Philly, and they're playing Buffalo. And the Eagles game and the Bills game is both are both on the road, so 2 3,000-mile trips back to back out of the chute.
I wonder if they'll stay.
I
wonder if they'll stay.
Do they stay? They could.
That's a hike, man.
That's not a lot of fun.
No.
Then you come back, you play the Giants, they'll be improved. Then you're at the Redskins. Then you're at the Niners. A lot of road games to start here. So I don't love their team. They're certainly decent. I'm not saying they're not going to be a competitive football team, but what they've lost, I now say, okay, do they have the quarterback that can, bridge the gap of acceleration? Can he be great?
We'll find out, man.
Well, I think the answer is no. I'm not saying he can't be good. He's not going to be great. To me, he's not an elevator. He won't take a good team and make them elite. I don't see that. He'll make a good team and maybe make them a little bit better or keep them at good. But there's some deficiencies with Goff that I've seen that I just can't stamp him as a superstar. And I don't think that I ever will. So because there's some other issues, the quarterback would need to close the gap, and I don't think he's the one to do it. I'm going to say inbounds. I believe that it's shut.